All right, thank you very much, Veli, and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to dive headfirst into our final matchup of the day. OXG looking to continue their very prominent run that started at the end of Stage 1 with a top spot towards the end of it, going up against Beast Coast to bring a new but also familiar IGL into the fold here, try and improve their own game plan. Will it work? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, couldn't ask for a better matchup for Bio's sake, as he's going to have quite a bit of internal intelligence about how the inner workings of at least 3 of the members of Oxygen will play out. Stokes, what do you think of this matchup, though, as we get closer towards it?
That's a really, really good question, John. I think the biggest thing here to talk about is the map that we are going to. Coastline is a map that we haven't seen too much history on in between these two teams, but we've seen them play it within recent history. I think the big one being Beast Coast actually winning one of their only matches, actually, their singular overtime win up against Disrupt 8-7 on this map, whereas for the Oxygen, they ended up winning 7-2 against the Giants at SI, as well as taking this off of Dark Zero in recent history as well. And honestly, if you wash both of these boards completely clean, excuse me, I honestly still think that this is Oxygen's game to lose. I don't see any way that they actually end up losing this match as of right now. I think the ball is in Beast Coast's court, especially as to what Bio is going to do as an IGL.
Well, on that topic, we'd like to know for our community poll question, can Biologic exact his revenge in this game, or will Laxing be able to shut him down? Be sure to go head over on our social channels, or you can vote in the Twitch chat as well about how exactly you're thinking about this community poll question, and Veli will be discussing the results with the analysis desk a little bit later on at the end of the show. Either way, though, back to the discussion point, Bio's certainly going to be adding a degree of experience to the side of Beast Coast, which is something that I thought was missing, at least when it came to the kind of higher echelon of things, so I think that's going to improve upon it. But similarly to Hot and Cold being incorporated, and I don't think this is something where we're going to see immediate results in just a few weeks since he's actually joined up with the roster. So I also am favoring Oxygen on the inside of this matchup, but I also agree with the point from the analysis desk in that this map, Coastline, is a little bit hard to predict. So there is that possibility where Beast Coast are able to sneak out of here with a win also. I would personally think, though, that that's going to be hard to achieve, so we'll have to wait and see exactly how that all pans out as we have our first ban on the board, that being Yana.
And honestly, I think the biggest thing from that being what you were talking about with Bio. As you said, he's someone with a lot of tenure, and he brings quite a bit of that to Beast Coast, but I don't believe that he has the same resume as Hot and Cold. As we talked about inside of that previous matchup, Hot and Cold is one of the most dominant players ever since year 1 inside of North America, so that pickup is just unprecedented when it comes to SSG. But for Beast Coast, that doesn't mean that they necessarily got a bad deal or anything like that. Biologic brings a lot to the table for this roster that could change up a lot of different areas of their game plan. But finally, locking in all of these bans, Yana, Lion, Valkyrie, and Mira going to be removed. Most notably, the Yana removed from Beast Coast.
Yeah, we started to see quite a bit of Yana play, specifically at SI, more so than here in the NAL itself, but I'm imagining that's going to be something that is starting to spread over towards this region, was the consistent play that we were going to see from her, so choosing to just knock that out rather than deal with it here. And as well, we're going to get a Flores pick. We're seeing that quite a bit on the inside of our first 2 matches of the day, specifically for Dark Zero, if I'm remembering correctly. Didn't see it at all in our previous match, however, and now it's going to be making another reappearance here for OXG in the first round of our final map.
Honestly, I'm not surprised that we've seen so many Flores picks. It feels like he's quite easy to work in, and not only does he give you info, but he's able to get rid of quite a few different utility pieces that are extremely important because he has explosive utility. That's something that we've talked about for a very, very long time. That's why the Gun 6 is now in the game. It was just one of the main issues as to why the utility meta existed for so very long in the way that it did. So they've implemented a lot of different things, including Flores, to try and combat that, at least it feels like to me. And I feel like Flores could definitely help out a lot of teams in those regards, especially with info on maps like this. Obviously, when you have the little drone going out and exploding and doing whatever it does, you get quite a bit of intel from that as well. So whenever Foxy is clearing out these areas, he's going to be able to relay quite a bit of that.
Not to mention that the overall concept of the operator is incredibly simple. So it's not a very difficult thing to incorporate into team strategy. There's no
And he's
like,
got burn, man. He's got stuns. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like a huge thing about Rainbow Six on working operators in, and the thing that people miss a lot when it comes to why isn't this operator played inside of Pro League or any of, you know, our different regions. Well, it's simply okay, do you have burn? Do you have something that the team can utilize overall to actually assist? That's the biggest things. When somebody's not really offering something up in the secondary department, but they offer something up in the primary, it just makes it very difficult to actually get some play out of them unless, you know, there's very specific operators. But either way, though, moving on from that, we're finally out and onto the field. Oxygen starting their clear of this map as well. They're bearing down onto Double Bar.
Is going to be, I believe, a kitchen hold ultimately coming in here for Beast Coast as they try to fend things off, but a large majority of that defense being committed to the double bar, as Sam had just mentioned, not to mention upstairs as well. A lot of mobility coming in for right now for the Beast Coast, and that's panning out as they pick up the first kill. A quick response from Vertical, but Rudy also in the neighborhood here, going to try to pick up his own exchange and put Beast Coast back in control. Won't be too successful upon that, but what an angle going out against Kino. Kino takes that blast of bullets, but is still able to win a completely detached fight on the inside of Sunrise Bar as he takes down now a second player, also eliminating Sippin. A good start for the birthday boy here.
Yeah, no longer Kino on Hard Breach. It's Kino with an F2, and he's looking. What was that? Oh my God, Fozo! Your head is in the grandstands, my man. That was so incredible. What a shot. A singular bullet past the bomb chassis takes him down. Oxygen gonna clean it up while I'm still picking my jaw back up off the floor. Round one goes the way of the green.
So it's looking like we're in for the Kino show today, if that runs any indication, because that was some absolutely insane stuff from him. I mean, even just the first duel he wins is crazy, right? There's that, to be fair, fairly impressive crossfire angle coming in from Beast Coast from the inside of Office itself that nearly kills him before any of that action begins. But despite that and the damage going on to him, probably from the player he was actually dueling as well, still gets the first kill and then gets two more on top of that. What an impressive round.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the best way to round that up. It really was the Kino show inside of that one. Yes, the double bar take works out well for Oxygen, but it's really off the back of Kino's efforts. We had some other Oxygen members picking up some frags. Obviously, we saw that from Vertical inside of Office, assisting with the clear of Beast Coast, but they simply bear down onto side and remove every single BC member from the map, and what a clear it was. Either way, looks like Beast Coast want to shift gears going into round two. They'll head upstairs towards Penthouse, and you can't exactly blame them. That kitchen defense just not working in any you know sense of the term.
Now, going to be interesting seeing Beast Coast over here towards Clubhouse for a couple of reasons. The main one being that Mira is currently banned, and up until recently, she was, in a lot of senses, required for a lot of teams in order to properly play the defensive setup onto this site. That has changed as of late. Teams have figured out a new way to play, specifically around the 90 position, which Beast Coast is currently reinforcing, on top of playing into VIP, I believe, also, that Beast Coast is going to be utilizing here on the inside of this round.
Yeah, it just feels as though it's a lot more abusable, especially with the Rooney coming into play where you can actually deny doors and stuff like that. Obviously, you can shoot through them, but you still have to give up a piece of utility in order to traverse through it. So that's going to make it to where, obviously, in late round, things can get quite hairy on the offense if you haven't managed things correctly. And for Beast Coast, it makes it to where they have to burn quite a bit more trying to get rid of these important utility pieces like the Goyo shield as well as the deployable inside of the 90 hallway. So we'll see how Oxygen want to try and break this up. But as you said, Penthouse is a completely different site as opposed to what it used to be. It's much more of a spread top hold, as we'll see a lot of Beast Coast members over towards this hookah area.
Starting out with Fozo, of course, he's probably going to get quite a bit of pressure sent his way from that outer balcony just next to VIP. Won't only be this player that'll have to worry about some of that early pressure. You've got some inklings of the members of OXG around Rudy over here by hookah, and at least one other position too. Here's the problem for Rudy, though. He's just lost his back wall. Now he's got to try to defend it while stunned out. Can't get the job done as Kino picks it up, but regardless, it's going to be Beast Coast that up until now, at least, has the advantage on the inside of the trade. Nice nitro cell kill coming out there in the process as well. But either way, this goes down to a 3v3 after everything is said and done. OXG slightly weaker due to Yogg being brought down to simply 25 HP. We'll see how that all pans out in the execute itself here.
He's on drone.
Foxe and Laxe get that much closer. Yeah, you can see the opportunity for Bio, but it's gone away now.
Drone.
He's going to back up.
Oh, this is such a hard spot right now for Beast Coast. They didn't see the drone inside of the bathroom, so they know Bio's downstairs at a minimum, at least around the lobby area. Things have obviously slowed down, mostly because Oxygen really having the next step inside of their plan set up just yet. That was a very sporadic offense to start us off, obviously equalizing here in between these two, going down to the last minute. Oxygen doesn't want to overstep, and they want to make sure that they can shut down any runouts coming out from Beast Coast. They've been very aggressive so far throughout these rounds, continually combating the Oxygen members, but they've simply just been that much better inside the fray. Yaga down on quite low HP from the Nitro Cell that we saw earlier, but could still be split in between engagements. It seems as though Beast Coast have been able to work their way back to site, playing some very pivotal positions, especially for Fozo, as he's got quite the angle to watch Bathroom from Vase inside of the hallway. This is one that we don't see too often, and one that I truthfully have never seen before, with that Vase angle, be able to cover the cross there from the Bathroom to the bomb chassis. It stuns in now for Laxon as he has to try and pick up the pieces. Yogg still stuck inside of the hallway, attempting to hold the cross. He's got two here as well. Laxing does indeed have the case, but he still needs to try and attempt to plant as well. Oxygen still spinning in the wind. Yaga going to rotate over towards Guitar, but it's seemingly all over now. Are they aware that Laxian is planting? He'll be able to make it off. Anthony gives him the business, and the SMG-11 will prove way too valuable inside of round 2. Beast Coast find their first.
Okay, she's seeming to have something to work with there at the end of the round, trying to play out that 2vx scenario, even seeing Laxton get into position in order to put the plant down onto the ground, but just nothing to work with inside of the post plant. And from what you could see, even from the Hall of Fame, no winning angle to be given over to one of their players to allow support even onto that plant. So a swift shutdown in the 3vx for Beast Coast there in order to control the trade round and bring us back to a 1-1 scoreline. It looks like we're going to be transitioning down to the double bars now that Beast Coast have finally found a site where they can meet with some success.
That was extremely well played there from Beast Coast. As we talked about inside of the, the prep phase, that site is quite difficult to defend, especially in the traditional means, right? You have to have a Mira, you're trying to play. Penthouse is more of a no man's land, and that's just not what it is anymore. It's that extended hold that we saw upstairs, attempt to delay time, but really truthfully cut things off around the VIP guitar area. You want to hold on to 90, and, well, if you're Beast Coast, you also want to have a pretty awkward angle for the offense to work with, cutting right through Penthouse, making that cross to the safe spot that we usually see the plant go down nearly impossible if someone is manning that angle. So Beast Coast just with a very nice one-off round. I don't necessarily know if it'll work the next time around, but I surely hope we get to see it again.
Yeah, it's obviously a very odd sight hold in looking at how it's generally played out, so actually maybe just not being too familiar with that and kind of getting outbeaten due to the complexity of the strategy. With that said, however, we're going to go to the opposite of that now. This is pretty much how most teams tend to defend, from a general sense anyway, their double bar sites, leaving the blue bar itself relatively exposed while putting quite a bit of an emphasis on defense, and then the sunrise bar, the extension into kitchen, and probably your top roam a little bit there too.
Yeah, you can always play this floor above if you necessarily want to. For Beast Coast, it's looking more like an extended hold, especially with what we saw going on with the kitchen area. It looks like they want to be able to have a cross, especially for beer here, and hold on to lobby as, well, that's extremely important when it comes down to blue. As you guys heard John talking about, and no, not the caster, the actual blue bar. Breaking that down and breaking the wall. Yeah, it gets very confusing, you know. Oh, he's able to get away from it. I'm going to shut up about my analysis for just a second, as Bio might be in some trouble, but things seemingly slowing down for the time being. Either way, though, lobby very important when it comes to holding down the blue bar. You really, really want that cross, and that's why that wall is destructed back and forth in between beer, just to allow any crossfires to help out Beast Coast in that area, which, well, seemingly might need some assistance early on here for Bio.
Yeah, Bio actually with a slightly incorrect read there, thought the opponent went cross the breach, so ends up exposing himself even more to his opponent. Thankfully lucky this time that his opponent is not actually looking down that sight line, keeping him alive in that specific scenario, even after the Nitro Cell goes off. Sippin as well with the angle against Kino. They were looking to shut him down quickly after that first round performance, and that is indeed going to be a winning spray in order to take him down. Won't fully eliminate him yet, and obviously, again, this is per play, so they're not getting that confirmation that he went down. The good news is, though, is they seem to have info irregardless, trying to bait out Kino's down body slightly there, but it won't pan out. Kino will get revived, only that sliver of HP being taken away from Laxing in the process. And OXG will now be back to having the man count advantage here as we head into the final minute of the round.
Now, this is very scary because as from what we've seen, this has actually been quite a quiet round for Oxygen, except for the fact that they've actually killed Anthony. So there's no smoke here. Oxygen are allowed to take really as much time as they want when it comes down to the info game, really get a hold onto what's going on inside of sight and try for this execute, but they seemingly don't check a box, which is the top hold as Rudy gains control of Penthouse and is able to finally equalize, taking down the main man himself, the birthday boy, Kino. But Yaga, quick to the refrag.
Sippin going to take a lot of heat here as he tries to cross out into the main lobby and fend off some of the other pressure that had been built up against his team. Won't work out, so he has to work his way back to the outside of Blue Bar and take a position there instead. Fozo with the hard lineup to counter any of the pressure that's going to be coming from the pool door itself, and Rudy with an even better position and obviously some better utility to make this work. However, he's got to be a little careful. We are going to see those explosive drones work their way in, and a grenade for good measure, which will actually fully kill Rudy in this situation. Vertical as well walks right in, shuts out the last remaining bastions of defense here for Beast Coast, and hands the round over to OXG.
That was so beautifully done. I'm pretty sure I wasn't able to get too much insight onto how Fox was essentially using the drones, but what it looked like is he was taking out all of the ADSs inside of sight and just making to where every single piece of utility they threw landed. And it was just so very well done for Oxygen there with that clear. They know that they no longer had to worry about the smoke, so they're able to play that down to the time in which they're able to get all of the insight available to them inside of the actual sites. And, well, take goes off without a hitch. Obviously, losing Kino a little bit earlier hurts, but doesn't hurt so much when you're actually able to win the round.
All right, so let's take a look here, see how Beast Coast will try to rebound once again, continuing to truly rotate throughout the entire breadth of what this map has to offer in terms of its site rotation, as we're going to go to the final one now for Beast Coast. They'll use all four as they go for their upstairs defense on, well, inside of round 4, couldn't be more appropriate. We'll see how this works out for them. This is the one that you folks at home are probably going to be the most familiar with if you're a Siege player, and we'll see it get defended in a pretty similar way as well.
Well, Beast Coast with the top hold now. Maybe going back to basics here with the hookah setup and, well as with the utility department. All of these operators traditional when it comes down to hookah. Obviously, we don't see too much vigil nowadays, but obviously that's just more of an aggressive mindset here for BC. We'll see if they're able to get another spawn kill or something like that to start us off and put Oxygen on their back foot, or if OXG will get the lead off pick yet again. Remember, instead of that last round, able to take down the smoke, and that really set up what was going to happen throughout round 3, especially coming down to the execute.
Well, let's see how the opening action will unfold. Specifically for OXG, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on that VIP take here for them as 3 players rappel up to it, take that early control for themselves. Of course, from what you can see on the top-down view, not going to be a whole lot of immediate resistance here from Beast Coast. They'll be getting free control of VIP, Hall of Fame, looking like bedroom and possibly theater as well, all going over to them. Obviously, those are pretty far detached from the site, so nothing really lost on the Beast Coast camp there, but still, it's the extra pressure that's going to be building up against them. Sippin can already hear it. He's going to try to go for the nitro. This could be 2, but no. Only 1. Oh, it is actually going to grab 2. Yogg, to be fair, will more than likely be revived, but either way, great lineup from Sippin to knock down both Vert and Yogg in the early round.
I mean, Yaga, come on, just pick yourself up, man. It's fine. You know,
Not anymore.
real rough. Times where you wish Zofia was moved back like 3 or 4 patches, you know what I mean? But either way, they'll be able to pick him back up as, well, Foxay will come in for the rescue. Either way, though, Beast Coast get the initial pick they were looking for, and even more, destroyed quite a few drones in the process as well. Bio's actually going to get knocked down inside of lobby from one of Laxing's air jabs, but nobody there to capitalize.
I almost want to say he tripped it on purpose. He like really slowly walked towards it for a second there. But either way, nothing really lost out of that scenario. They're bleeding out that extra air jab, and of course redirecting the attention of one of the OXG members, however temporarily it was. So more than likely going to see, I think it was Fox that went over there to take a peek at that. So he'll probably rotate back into position pretty soon, and the rest of the team will begin committing to the rest of their push. Laxing actually keeping a close eye on this rotate now because of that air jab. But I think the threat has passed. It's not looking like Bio, especially when you consider, and well, no, they're ahead right now, so they could try to get a bit more aggressive here now that I'm thinking about it and looking at it more appropriately. But either way here, OXG looking for a way to get back into control as they take that Aqua control and try to push themselves forward.
Well, we'll have to see what the new IGL will do. Obviously, it does have man advantage. Could possibly send a flank here, but we'll have to see exactly what he wants to go through with. Rudy and Bio both still playing down low. Obviously, Bio more than likely the favored rotator, if you want to call it that, as well. He does have that backpack to block himself from drones. Get very difficult for them to actually get any insight on him, but it seems like Oxygen already ready to jump into the site and attempt a plant. Currently, case on Yaga, but Oxygen getting depleted left and right now as they're continuing to try and find some space. Well, Yaga's gonna walk right into some toxic smoke. That'll take him down. Fozo gets yet another, not with the smoke, but with the SMG-11 instead on the mute as well. Beast Coast finally battle back.
Very rough round there for OXG as they get the control specifically on the top floor, leading around to Aqua with relative ease, but that's almost a misnomer to them as they take that as a sign that they're going to be able to execute on the site again with that same amount of ease. Truly, that is not the case as Beast Coast are more than ready. We could even see, I believe it was Biologic or another player that rotated up on the Jaeger in the late round as well to assist before Be Fair getting nearly taken out on the rotation, but still got into that position, and so did the rest of Beast Coast, meaning they were more than ready to fend off that Aqua push from OXG, and without really any additional pressure coming in towards the VIP hallway, the VIP room itself, it's a fairly easy task for Beast Coast to just shut that down in a one-dimensional gunfight.
Yeah, it was very straightforward overall if you really get down to it, because I don't know if they had impacts or bulletproof on the Vigilance out of that previous round, but if Bio did indeed have impacts, then he simply just gets to play blue bar there and impact the floor whenever they go for the default plant. So Beast Coast was never out of the driver's seat ever inside of that round. Oxygen simply tried to throw and execute at the wall and hope it sticks in the likes of that billiards attack, but that was really it. It was just an attempt. There was really nothing there for them to actually get a win condition off of, so very unfortunate for them. But now we're at a very interesting scoreline as we've seen in recent history. Well, actually the history of Coastline overall, this map is a teeter-totter. We've seen it lean to the defense, lean to the offense. It just really matters about region, and at the end of the day, the two teams that are playing against each other, this map is really crazy when it comes down to it. So
if you I was looking at this a couple weeks ago. If you are counting SI as the most recent indicator, this is actually the most balanced map in the game.
Really? 50% right down the middle?
No. It's like 52, I think, for defenders. If I recall, 52 or 53 for defenders from what I saw in CGG. And that was like by far the closest to 50% of any of the maps.
That's actually so very interesting. So did we actually end up, because I only checked a couple of map stats for today.
That's just for SI. That's not counting any maps outside of that. But
okay, understandable. So did you end up going through all of the map stats for SI before I ask you this? Because I only went through a couple of them for the matches today.
Yeah. There's like the overall page that has all the map stats on it for like the event page and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I got it from there.
CGG. Gotta love those guys. Got to love those guys. But either way, what I was getting at is, so did it end up being the most balanced? Was there anyone that was offensive sided? Did Chalet end up being offensive sided?
I forget on that one.
Okay, well, we'll move on from the point then. Either way.
I don't remember that much.
Either way, though, full minute already out here inside of round 5, but very similar straights here for Beast Coast, although a different site. Sippin picking up the exact same mantle that we saw Bio in previously when he popped that air jab from Laxing earlier inside of round 4, but as of right now, Beast Coast simply sitting on their hands. Not too much to do as Oxygen haven't moved any of the pawns forward.
So Kino continuing to look for an opening opportunity. Obviously not going to find it. The nearest player would be Sippin, but he's well below the staircase. Ozo's going to hear some of the action going on outside, and more importantly, above him. He's going to try to respond to that. Gets a shot off onto the back of Vert. Not the killing one, though. Nitro out. Vert should be able to dodge that as it's telegraphed pretty well due to the holes he has. And now is going to have an even better preview on what's going on down below. Won't get the opportunity to strike, though, as the player on the opposite side of that, Fozo, is going to run away right into the crosshair of Kino, apparently. He was very much ready to take that duel. Now it's going to be Oxygen that get themselves off on good foot here as they take the opening advantage at 5v4. Sippin, they have an immediate opportunity to refrag or possibly go down himself. No, never mind. It's going to be Rudy instead that gets caught due to Yog continuing to put pressure forward upstairs now and funnel out a lot of the pressure that's currently on the inside of the VIP area, of the bedroom as well as theater area. Now the 90 hallway is the main point of concern here for OXG. As it's really only Bio left. Sippin's still causing problems downstairs. I was talking about him before. He's now really the lone defender here, but he's making a massive impact. Got the one kill from the lobby, runs outside to kill Kino. The trades are happening upstairs, and it's a good thing they do as well. Without that exchange, they would have lost 2 more right there. Only had Foxy to clutch out the 1v2. Now at least they have the 3v2, but the problem is there's only 20 seconds left to make the play, and Sippin is still directly in the way of their avenue of aggression.
Does have the cross here for the main door. Obviously nothing to break up this wall, all except for bullets. Misses the headshot. It goes wide. They're trying to stop the plant as of right now. Swings, but not wary of vertical up top. Anthony with a nice shot. He can't stop the plant either. The shotgun out. Ooh. Somebody needs to stop him, and it's Yaga to do it. Oxygen stops the bathroom retake as he'll save the life of his Flores planting right in front of him.
Honestly, a really interesting gunfight in the way that all plays out there towards the end. The final member of Beast Coast not even really making the wrong decision. Knows it's at a null timer scenario. All he has to do is kill the planter. So he tries to go for what he would assume would be the easier angle to work from the inside of the bathroom with the shotgun, but that ends up not being the case. Gives the other member from OXG supporting the plant the time to readjust their aim and shut things down when he repeaks. So beautiful work there from OXG to still get that down onto the ground and clutch things out despite working against the timer. They take the lead at 3-2 as we head into the final round of the half.
Yeah, they played that perfectly for what they had to use, especially with the vertical play coming in from the sledge. But besides that, I mean, they almost ended up losing it from Sippin's play inside a bathroom, able to pick up that frag through the soft destruction and then immediately rotates it outside, knowing that there's no air jab on the door. So he's able to swing and pick up the twitch as well. So Oxygen finally taking the lead yet again here, 3-2, as they're trying to close out their offensive half on a positive note. Could possibly have a 4-2 here in the future, but not if Beast Coast has something to say about it. They're headed back to the site that we saw previously that we thought was so damn interesting, John, especially with this angle that we see the smoke setting up currently right now. Cyano, if you could please go to the theater hallway and show me that vase angle one more time, my friend. Yes, sir, right there, all the way to the bathroom door. You can cover that cross right from the bomb chassis over into the corner, and, well, that's quite a difficult one when it comes down to it.
Yes, this is that renewed bit of strength for defenders on the inside of this site that has kind of reignited quite a bit of the play here compared to before when this site was really only considered when Mira was left out of the ban pool, and aside from that, it would be a rare treat. No longer seems to be the case, at least as far as Beast Coast defense is concerned, though, as they're going to rotate into this for the second time in this half, trying to close out if they are allowed to. Now, taking a look here at the opening aggression from OXG, it's going to be centered pretty spread out. So to correct myself, it's not going to be very centered at all here. A lot of pressure coming in, specifically in the hookah direction, though, as you're going to see Rudy have at least one player outside of his hookah room over on the balcony. Vertical's trying to nade that out now, and until a moment ago, there were two other players also trying to aggress from the inside of Aqua. Rudy's still aware of those players, but they are long gone, so we'll have to keep a closer eye on the hookah balcony doorway instead if he wants to stay alive in this position. Now all the iron is drawn on the Bozo, but he's ready for it, or seems to be ready for it, until he runs face first into an air jab, putting him on the ground and into the crosshair of Foxe, evening us back out into a 4v4.
You know, they say never cross the streams, but it seems to work out for Oxygen there, as they're getting shot from 3 different directions, it seems, for Fozo's case. Well, as of right now, Oxygen is able to equalize here as they end up losing Yaga. Beast Coast with an interesting setup towards the west-hand side of the map, as we've seen with, well, Rudy upstairs as well as Bio down low, manning the lower area inside of Sunrise, but that doesn't seem to be the play anymore. As well, we're shifting to about halfway into the round now. Oxygen still with some really good straights here, especially over towards the VIP side. They haven't centralized just yet, as they're still trying to figure out exactly how Beast Coast are holding this down.
As we enter that last minute of action here, it's all up to OXG to dictate the state of play from this point forward. It seems Beast Coast has fallen back fairly close to their site, and aside from the more hard-locked roamers that actually have something to play behind, you're not going to see a whole lot of that off-site presence anymore. Entering the final 50 seconds, though, it seems like might actually be a little bit incorrect. We got both the Goyo along with at least one other player out and about. That's be a little unfortunate for Beast Coast there, as Anthony's not able to throw his grenades past the wall, but actually might work into their favor. He might actually be able to abuse that slightly here if he wants to later on in the round, but we'll see how all that pans out. Smoke trying to block access now for the first attempt at OXG to actually get to the inside, but it hasn't really worked out. We are going to see Foxe get to the corner, try to put this plant attempt down on the ground. Anthony resisting it a little bit, though, as he takes out Laxing and brings his attacking force down to only 2. In a 2v3, though, post-plant also. This is very workable. The vertical can't find the angle he needs. Foxe does, though. He takes down yet another player. Let's add one more to his count as well, as he's got Sippin in a down state, now dead. Bio, the only one left, takes out his old teammate, but can he knock out Vertical as well? He's got about 10 seconds here to make it happen, but no, Vertical, ready for the fight this time, ends it instead, and OXG will take the round.
over into, well, balanced, but still the driver's seat when it comes to roles. The defense picking things up in that regard, and quite a defense there for Beast Coast. I honestly think that there's signs of life for this roster with Biologic. I honestly liked a lot of the things that they were doing and the way that they were manipulating the map into their favor. It just seemed that Oxygen had a better game plan overall for that half.
Yeah, so OXG will take a well-deserved, in my opinion, at least lead for themselves. And now we get to see what their own defense looks like here. Already some interesting things being brought up. We are going to see the Oryx. I believe that was also picked once by Beast Coast, but never really stuck to it from what I can remember in those early rounds of the first half. Echo also going to be brought into the fold here for OXG. Operator that they're no stranger to, but can have some great impact in terms of late-round utility usage if they can get those drones in the correct position. Obviously not going to have the invisibility effect anymore, and we've seen a slight change of role to a certain extent with regards to that change, but that late round plant denial is still going to be the main reason for utility. At least you'd want to have this operator in your pocket.
Yeah, he's actually very, very good when it comes to this site as well, because there's a ton of different places you can hide his drones, and that's the biggest thing as of right now for Echo is there an opportunity for you to hide that yokai to where it's going to exist for the rest of the round, and you have an opportunity to actually shut down that plant. And with Sunrise especially, there's quite a few different areas where you can manipulate the drone into like the top racks or something like that and hide it away from the offense. We'll have to see if Oxygen can possibly get away with the bag in that regard, but Oxygen definitely set up for success inside of this double bar defense. Finally, though, Beast Coast are out the gates for the first time here on offense. And they're going to be bringing Sippin with the Jackal as well as the Nomad, which we saw Oxygen bringing before. Oh, well.
Vert gonna get denied, though, right at the start of this round here.
Don't
Rudy
stare him in the eyes like that, Rudy.
trained and ready to go on that peak from Vertical, and we'll get the instant denial. Vertical, as you can see, just probably gonna spend the rest of this round keeping an eye on those yokais in order to help out Yogg to the best of his own capability here. But either way, a solid start for Beast Coast as they're able to take out that roaming Jaeger within the first 5 to 10 seconds of the round.
Well, nice start here for Beast Coast, but Oxygen may have an opportunity to refrag here. Foxay going to abandon luggage upstairs and instead work his way down into security. Knows that there's more than likely multiple Beast Coast members attempting to work this top floor, especially with the Jackal track starting to come in, so a little more than likely has some semblance of where Beast Coast are based upon where they were moving around inside of the prep phase. So Beast Coast starting off strong so far, have the top floor to themselves, but we'll have to see if they can make it worthwhile.
Going to continue to see the time tick down. A very passive hold here now from OXG after having lost a Vertical, not able to get themselves any sort of early fights. Not that they necessarily want one anymore either here. You can see Foxay still restricted to the inside of security. It's more than likely just going to be sticking around here, though. He's got a pretty hard lock point, and more importantly, he could come into play in a big way in the late round if Beast Coast try to play any of their post-plant positions from that front lobby area. Sippin as well continuing to get some great info, such as that player right there, right next to him. Sippin not done that, could have ended up peeking into his own grave there, so some good usage of the utility in order to scout out Kino's spot, and no more importantly that getting down the cool vibe stair is going to be a little bit more of an effort than they might have been thinking a few seconds prior. Kino, though, ready for the fight, trying to play these harsh angles, hoping that he could get the headshot off on the M590. So far, excuse me, no dice, though, and we're actually going to see another kill scored by Beast Coast as they're able to take out Yogg.
Oxygen slowly dwindling, but that doesn't mean that they can't fight back. Obviously, losing a couple of members, but still have opportunity, especially with utility given at hand for Oxygen to try and get a refrag here or something to get them into this round. But as Foxay goes down, this is looking less and less likely. Finally, a frag comes up for Kino's. He'll take down one. Laxing gets another, but not before Fozo is able to take down Kino. Laxing still has the possibility to clean up the last two, is aware of the player on vibes. He's going to have the initial insight as well as he swings. Bomb now going down. Anthony more than likely going to have to abandon ship, but no, Fozo pushes the angle. So smart in the moment to make sure Laxing can't work his way back into Sunrise and stop the plant from going down. Nice stuff on the offense so far from Beast Coast as they'll claim round one.
Yeah, Laxing with a great read on the situation, trying to capitalize as best he could. Unfortunately, the length of that rotate allowed Fozo to have a bit of clairvoyance as well and realize, oh, he's clearly going for my planter. Let me stop this. And it's just a short couple steps walk for him to get into the angle to do that. Valiant attempt by both the shotgun players, though. Kino finding one from Cool Vibes and Laxing nearly dueling it out against everyone else on this roster with the SMG-11, but obviously does not pan out fully, and Beast Coast are able to find a nice resurgence at the beginning of the second half in order to put them back into somewhat controlling shape here at 3-4. Still going to be behind, but if they keep up that type of pace here, especially when it comes to the early round where OXG weren't really able to do all that much, if we're being honest, and Beast Coast are going to be in great shape in the second half.
Yeah, Oxygen not able to get any traction out of this Oryx just yet. As we saw, Beast Coast are extremely aware that they're bringing this on defense as well. We saw Biologic air jabbing up the hatches to make sure that Fox A couldn't possibly rotate. Obviously, this is going to be onto Yaga now to try and make something happen with this operator. Obviously, quite a few hatches on this map. And, well, Biologic, although having air jabs, doesn't have an unlimited amount, so there's more than likely going to be a gap somewhere. Whether it shows on a staircase or a hatch, we'll have to see, but still a good pickup from Oxygen to give them some late round roam potential.
I think we can see how exactly Beast Coast are going to approach things once again. At the beginning of the last one, they had a surgical execute for one of the members of Oxygen after catching them early on, just to the left of the office doorway. Doubt we're going to see that same mistake made again by OXG, but take a look at this. Beast Coast might just waltz right in. There's the plant attempt already. It is immediately going to be resisted by Kino. Bio with the trade, though, and this is going down. They're not going to be able to stop it. The plant's already on the ground. Anthony is gone, and we are in a 4v3 post-plant. I believe less than 30 seconds into the round was when they attempted to put that down. Boza with a great post plant there was able to get one for himself, laxing a fast read to trade that out. Now it's down to Anthony and Rudy to change up the fate for this squad here. We're going to see them attempt to get directly on top of the defuse as well, and they're going to get it for the most part. No, it's interrupted for just a moment, but ultimately doesn't matter as Laxing tears everyone to shreds. It's a triple kill on the round for him, and OXG quickly get the counter defuse against that very creative push that we see from Beast Coast.
So practically the movie Gone in 60 Seconds starring Anthony as Nicolas Cage, but he doesn't actually get away from the police. That's basically what happened there. Oxygen end up refragging their way to victory and just retake the entire map, including the outside. Yes, actually the outside. They walked outside and did that. So Oxygen currently up 5-3. Honestly, love the attempt from Beast Coast there. It really did seem like they had the control necessary in order to get that to go off and actually frag their way out. But Oxygen just that much better inside of those moments. That's one of those plays where when it does happen, it's all up to the gunfights. It's 5-on-5 and you better win your gunfights, and Beast Coast just simply couldn't do that. And well, that's what that strat calls for, so that's about all she wrote.
I was kind of surprised Beast Coast continued to commit to it after they lost the initial gunfight on the inside as well. That was like the main support for their planter gone. To be fair, yeah, they still had that little bit of it coming from Bio, which was enough because he found the trade, and then that gave Anthony the time to get the plant. But still, you're already from a 4v5. Now you've got to worry about these guys jumping out windows, and you're at a disadvantage. It was a tough one for Beast Coast to win right from the outset, but still, got to respect the attempt at a minimum to try something like that, especially in a game that's traditionally played incredibly slowly like Siege.
See, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, you got to open up that playbook sometimes and just go for something, especially in a game like this. You're always 2 kills away from the other team just being so downtrodden they might not win the round. Like, you know, there's a very limited utility pool when it comes to Rainbow Six Siege, and when certain people die, you simply just can't get jobs done, and that's what makes the game so very difficult, because you need people for different things. So, you know, when you're starting to lose members early on for the crosses and stuff like that, it just gets overly complex, and there's a million different ways that the round can possibly go, but, you know, that's all just insight into the round, and players possibly making plays off of everything that they have at their disposal, whether it be info or audio or what have you. That's just, you know, things that happen strictly inside of this game for us. It's very difficult when it comes down to it. Either way, though, looks like Beast Coast do want to try and handle a top clear here. Sippin will be the first one in the door, but not the first one dead. That only goes up to Biologic, the new IGL here for BC, as he'll be taken down. That means no air jabs to try and combat the roam from OXG.
Foxay gets put into a little bit of a hot spot there for a moment, but is able to evacuate through the center hole of this very donut-shaped map. He'll jump back down and be in a great position to play out the late round here, but obviously does have to give over that remaining top floor control to his opponents. He's wasted a good minute off the clock on top of there, of course, being that opening pick against Bio as well, though. So his job more than done in this specific situation here. Obviously still going to have to deal with the consequences of giving Beast Coast that extra time, but they'll worry about that later on in the round, because now they can afford to lose the extra player. Now they can afford to make that extra mistake they couldn't before, and that's a whole lot going into your mental here as far as Siege is concerned. Laxing with the up. Oh, what a flick from Laxing onto Fozo there. Thought for sure it was a dead man, but not going to be the case as he saves his own life by knocking out his opponent.
I almost spit water all over my keyboard. That would have been the worst thing to ever happen to me while commentating, but the best thing when it comes down to those flicks. What a play there from Laxing. ADS eats up a smoke from Sippin, though, upstairs as well. The assault not stopping here for BC, although they have lost 2 members. Oxygen well within their right to take this round, but that doesn't mean that BC could have something to say about it. Laxing playing close to the door, but he'll finally get taken down from the couch window. Looking quite well into Beast Coast's hands so far, but that's something that Oxygen can obviously separate themselves with. Only losing 1 member so far, and obviously still have toxic smokes on Kino to lock up that plant. Lots of damage onto Anthony, and no pick just yet here for Beast Coast as well. We're seeing blue inside the kill feed, meaning Oxygen are going to take the round, and what a play here from the Jaeger as we see it in the kill feed, or excuse me, the kill cam.
I want to point out those final moments from Laxing as well. Really great read of the situation. Laxing knew he was a dead man regardless of what he did there when he was locked into that angle in the 1v2 after, of course, he got his opening pick. So instead of just sitting there accepting his fate, waiting for someone to peek him and hoping he gets himself that one headshot, gets uber aggressive, pushes the pool doorway in hopes of that being an unexpected play and allowing him to maybe sneak off another trade before going down. That's that kind of proactive play you get specifically from Laxing, but from other members on the OXG roster as well that can be really tough to contend against as their opponent from time to time. And we see that right there.
To be honest, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more of that happen more often with just how proficient LATAM was at SI this year. I think that was the main thing that everyone talked about from the 6th Invitational was just how good LATAM was, and that's something that we see quite often from them, is that they're very proactive in the way that they play and very proactive in the way that their team works, you know, with the way that they take and everything else. You don't really have an extended take where you have people in the 4 corners of the earth trying to clear things out and flush it to one area. They're really trying to get in the face of their opponent and make things extremely difficult for them when it comes down to the fundamentals of Rainbow Six, like we were talking about before. You lose operators early, it's very difficult to try and do certain jobs, especially when they have a pivotal role.
We're going to see these teams finish up the defensive matrix for OXG. Once again, going to be playing into that hallways. We also saw Beast Coast doing on the previous round. Once again, reigniting the play potential inside of this site due to the recent additions to the meta. You'll note there's going to be no Aruni in this setup for OXG, though, compared to Beast Coast. So a little bit of a different take for the OXG camp, but should be just as strong here, considering the angles are going to be very, very similar.
Yes, indeed. It looks like they're really worried about these staircases. They're going to have Laxing holding on to Vibes with some angles in towards Hookah, at least at the foot level across, so they can possibly help him with some insight as to what's going on inside of there. But as for the rest of the squad, they're mostly centralized around the back area on this north side. So it's basically a straight line. Kino inside of Guitar, Foxe inside of VIP, and then obviously Laxing, like we talked about before, on Vibes. They have a cross angle for vertical all the way over inside of Billiards that you can possibly work from luggage, but we'll have to see. Did you see? I knew that nade wasn't going to kill him. Didn't even skip a beat, guys. Didn't even skip a beat. Anyways, Oxygen actually well within their right to have a really nice start here to this round. It's really up to Beast Coast as to how they can work these EMPs in with these concussions.
The only real issue right now is we have seen a couple of their players, Kino obviously the first getting pushed out of position, so that does leave a couple players potentially exposed. Foxe literally get a whack-a-mole game there for a moment, but unfortunately the drone still got the info, and that's all that Bio needed in this specific round here. He gets the lock onto Foxe's position, takes him down. That's finally going to be Beast Coast getting off to a good start here on the attack for the first time in quite a while. Now it's time to see how they look to build upon that here from the 5v4.
We'll still have quite a few things to worry about, especially the counter angles for VIP that we saw set up for vertical. Those could obviously be abused by Laxing as well, but we're going to be seeing some very similar things to what we saw last time, especially this angle through the single panel on the left-hand side door here for Theater, to make sure that no one can possibly cross into the actual penthouse area and get a plant down, at least without taking a few shots. Vertical's still very concerned and on the roam, but he's not going to be up near Billiards any longer. Oh, no. He's moved downstairs instead to try and find some BC members, but as of right now, they're simply spinning around the map. They still have some nice crosses being held. Fozo's going to get lit up from Yogg inside of the theater hallway, but besides that, it's simply progressing forward slowly to get this execute off around the VIP area.
That little bit of damage is perfect as well. Fozo's got to give a lot more respect over to Yogg now. Can't just blindly peek into that anymore if he assumes he's going to be ready for him. Laxing in the meantime here, getting some free vision on the players, but can't connect the shots. That TCSG betraying him. He has to fall back now, take a much more passive position, but at the same time, we are going to see the rest of Beast Coast move ever forward and closer to their potential plant. Laxing, they now know he's on the flank. They're going to be able to counter him out. Rudy with the double, one in sight, one on the flank. He's got another on the flank as well here, as he's going to try to finish off the round, but Sippin doing it all instead there, as we are going to be able to see this squad hold on for at least one more pickup. It's Beast Coast that secure the round.
So very well done from Beast Coast. I mean, the pacing especially, always in control after they're able to get the initial pick onto Fox. They force him into a poor position with the EMPs and nades, finally able to take him down from the penthouse window. But after that, it was a calm before the storm. Beast Coast eventually worked their way into VIP. There wasn't much biting for that at all from Oxygen. They didn't really have anything to try and combat that area. As we'd seen, Vertical had already dropped off from Billiards, and Laxing was fighting for his life around the kitchen area, so they didn't really have anybody to try and attempt to shut that out earlier on. So Beast Coast able to get the map control and eventually the plant down, really hindering what Oxygen could do, especially when it came to those two flanks. Either way though, Oxygen will still get two cracks at trying to secure this last round before before Beast Coast are able to push up onto overtime.
The flex picks here for OXG are quite interesting. We've seen the operator, specifically on the defensive side, change up quite a bit from where things started out. The Oryx, most notably, I think, changing hands. It was on Foxy, if I recall correctly, back in round number 1, but now Yogg's picked it up. Foxy's gone over towards Elysian, in fact. So we've got a really interesting lineup of operators that OXG are going to bring onto the table to try to restrict map presence, globally across this map, I would say, with the operators they're bringing to the table, and then obviously try to hone it back towards the site once that timer gets a little bit lower.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that we're going to see them continue to try and do. Is it works really well, it just didn't necessarily work inside of that previous round, but this one more than likely going to work out a little bit better, especially since they're more than likely going to be able to hold on to this top floor for quite some time. This is extended all the way over to Aqua, but this simply might be reinforcements and backing up to safer positions here for OXG. We'll have to see what they have going on here in a couple of seconds. But besides that, it's going to be 3 men downstairs. Kino currently holding on to kitchen, as well as Yogg working security side.
A pretty quiet opening few moments here. Nobody getting that free opening pick as we had seen at the beginning of this half here. No longer going to be such an easy case for either Beast Coast or OXG. Both these teams now very well aware of the other strategies, and that will extend into overtime as well if we end up reaching that point of the matchup. But remember, OXG still in control and still with these final 2 opportunities on this round and the next to close out before Beast Coast themselves are able to close that gap and send us to OT. Vertical continuing to look for any sort of presence towards Aqua, but you can see it's pretty light there right now. You've got one player down below, but they're more focused. Sippin', this is, of course, on Office's push, and obviously trying to be cognizant of anyone that might be dropping down, because Bio instead has the pressure onto Aqua. Nice team play there, actually, because if that player had been funneled down through the hatch, the one that was watching Office would have got the kill instead. Fozo somehow survives a Nitro here, despite looking like he was slamming the hammer right on top of it. Sippin's got the second pick, and okay, Yogg just spots a headshot while looking and deletes the remaining health off of Sippin there. Or, yeah, they're going to be able to take him down. Yogg as well with the escape of the Sentry. Making it down with just a sliver of HP left through that hatch, and now ready to take on the challenge if somebody wants to peek from the inside of Billiards. I can't believe he made it out of that.
Man, you cannot make this up. This is one of the only operators in this game. Actually, the only operator, in fact, I think, that has a movement ability. Dashes, picks up the down player, and then prones through the hatch to save his own life. All those bullets getting shot into his legs, which, if you don't know, you actually take less damage when that happens. Your limbs take a little bit less than your torso, and obviously your head, being that very well-known one-shot headshot mechanic.
Yogg's been playing like Crucible on a Hunter in Destiny or something, man, with those dodges. Like,
he's making it work, man. It's some incredible stuff. The footwork right now, I don't know what, Redeemer and Hopes have been feeding him, if I can say that, but it's probably some good stuff, I'd have to say. Anthony now attempting this plant. Kino seemingly unaware of what's going on, as, well, Kino, right below your crosshair right now, someone's actually putting a bomb down, and, well, you're seemingly unaware, as is the rest of Oxygen. No real cams up inside of the service area. Well, now Yogg and the rest of the squad have the opportunity to try and bring this back, and Yaga is not missing a single shot when it comes down to it. Can he do it yet again on single-digit HP? He cannot. And Beast Coast, well, seemingly Best Coast today, as they're continuing to fight back.
Yogg certainly making those kills look clean, but not clean enough to win out the round, unfortunately. There is Beast Coast's early round work is that much more proficient against the holds from OXG here. Really great work, specifically when it comes to that roam clear. Beast Coast quickly realizing that OXG are going to try to play this heavy on the early round, trying to pick up kills there and abuse that quite a bit as they're able to knock down the first player on the inside of Aqua with relative ease, and then just play out their advantage man-to-man from that point forward all the way down to the end of the round as they take control of the site. Great stuff from Beast Coast. It's not super flashy or anything like that, but it's exactly what they need to get outside of this matchup, and that's what they're focusing on right now, taking this to OT and coming out on top of a team that's very hard to control.
Yeah, exactly. Flashy doesn't mean a win. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. We see flashy plays all the time across all of esports, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be winning. I mean, there's quite a few solid examples, but either way, you know, for Oxygen as of right now, I think that the timeout could have been called a little bit sooner, but obviously inside of that last round, it seemed like they really did have a solid attempt to try and shut things out, at least early on, but not before Beast Coast started bringing it to them, especially when it comes to Biologic, getting that lead off pick. Didn't honestly have the best defensive half, but ever since it got to the offense, he seems to be an entirely different player. Obviously, the IGLing already seems to be solid. They've been able to get this map this far already up against OXG, but now is where the rubber hits the road. Can they possibly claim this last round to force Oxygen into overtime, or can Oxygen finally seal the deal here in regulation?
6 being heavily used throughout this half, but not going to be a factor whatsoever going into our penultimate or our ultimate round of regulation. Going to end up being a little bit less than that, though, if Beast Coast comes out on top of it and we trigger OT yet again to try and close out Game 4, the first day of action here at the NAL. We are going to see that standard hookah billiards defense, though. A lot of teams falling back to this when teams getting rough, and Beast Coast was no exception. They also played, I believe, their final round of the half here as well, and OXG going to do pretty much the same exact thing to try to close things down and end this 7-5.
Okay, Oxygen, very forward deployable shield here. I like this, especially with the laser gate, but interested to see how this is all going to go down. Looks like, well, we couldn't make it out of this one without one, could we? It looks like we're more than likely going to get a rehouse here, folks. We're just waiting on the confirmation, but just take a quick, snap with your mind here of what's currently going on, because besides moving reinforcements, they can't pick any other operators. So looks like this is what we're going to have to work with for both of these teams. Interested to see how this is actually going to go, especially with this interesting setup that we have around billiards. Oh, okay.
So no rehost.
Everything I said was cap, and I apologize.
Well, no rehost. So we're gonna keep playing this round. As it said, it was denied. So we're gonna keep on rolling with the round until further notice. As we take a look at the moment-to-moment action here for Beast Coast, a lot of the focus right now is on clearing out that usual VIP spot that can be used as a springboard for the rest of your execute, especially if you're having trouble getting control of the more problematic parts of the map, like the entryway coming in from the hookah balcony or Aqua towards the bottom left of your screen. So Beast Coast going to take the easier, specifically considering OXG's setup, the easier of those three options here at the beginning of the round, is for the most part, they'll be able to just walk right in and take it.
All reinforcements used up for Oxygen here. Seems like they have a singular soft panel on the quad wall, so I'll have to see where they've implemented that later on, but it doesn't seem like it's going to work out for them as of right now. Fox8 will be taken down very early on here. The first blood yet again, and not only that, but also being taken down on Wamai. Obviously, those discs, he gets over time, so that's going to hinder what Wamai can possibly do throughout the rest of this round for Oxygen. Some damage onto Laxine as well, as Beast Coast starting to look like they're walking away with this round.
5v4 with some damage on the Laxing as well. So early days, the actual site execute itself should be the real test. Is from what we can see from the player lineups on OXG, they're playing a lot more focus on that site itself, choosing to try and take this to the late round, which is in direct contrast to what we saw in the Browns prior to this, where they seem to be playing very much for that roam game. Now, you have some exceptions, this vertical forward more than anyone, and Yogg as well playing into a very dangerous position considering that the big window is now open, but he does have some bit of defense to work into this. Sippin as well, taking a lot of heat as he walks past what appeared to have been a smoke gas grenade there, so we'll lose about half of his HP as a result of that. Kino will aggress upon that. Now, doesn't have the exact position of Sippin. No, Sippin got a great opportunity if he wants to swing, but doesn't take the challenge. Kino safe quickly falls back, but Kino not going to be too safe here for very long. Has a slight edge because that X-Kairos is actually not going to reveal his current position to anyone coming from the hookah balcony. Not to count his lucky stars, that is the case here. That could have led to his elimination and the fallout of the rest of Beast Coast had he gone down. Now we're going to see it come to full fold, though, as those trades ignite the play for Beast Coast, and it seems to be going well, as it's now down to a 4v2. Fozo desperately hunting out one of those two players, but he can't get it. Laxing outbeats him there. Now it's all down to Vertical in the 1vx. If he can deny the plant, run this to timer, he can still win, but he's in the 1v2. One player is down here. Can't deny the plant ultimately. He just doesn't have an angle. Tries to take the player down post-plan instead, but that opens up the opportunity for Bio to shut him down and take us to overtime.
Well, Beast Coast bringing it all the way back to OT. And, well, looks like we're finally going to get that rehouse more than likely and get things fixed here. We'll have to see how that ends up going. But either way, Beast Coast have actually gotten here. And that's the biggest thing, right? So that's, well, over these last couple of rounds, John, Beast Coast honestly haven't been doing anything all that crazy. There hasn't been some epiphany of what they've been doing. The clears have been very strong. They've been able to get the leadoff pick quite often and usually end up abusing that extremely well. We see the info game working out for them well, especially inside of that round where they were able to get the exact positioning of Yaga on that deployable shield. There was a lot of positive notes there for Beast Coast that Oxygen simply couldn't combat.
Very much a slow and steady wins the race sort of vibe going on right now for Beast Coast, and I can't fault them for that. It's working perfectly. As you were mentioning, the drone game is incredibly proficient for them right now, especially when it comes to finding those first couple of players. Their ability to set up a seemingly unescapable position for the defenders as well there, where one player on OXG tries to lock themselves in and take a fight. Ultimately, they'll get pushed out of that position due to some utility usage, and although they may not fall to the first player who they have to run away from on Beast Coast, we've seen this a couple times now, where ultimately they end up running into a second or a third one who's supporting the fallback angle and making sure that, yeah, okay, this player may get away from the first position, but he's not going to make it anywhere close to sight, because we have like 2 to 3 backup angles to kill this player from while they're in the process of running back. It's a really great system that's being set up by Beast Coast right now, and OXG having a lot of trouble dealing with it. That's why they try to play close to the site in that previous round, but the same issue is shown up for them here. Everyone that's trying to support an aggressive position is just being completely filtered out of it before they can even really do anything, it seems.
Yeah, well, that's the original sin of Coastline as well, right? If you turtle set up on Coastline, you're basically just saying, hey, I want to lose the round. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you turtle on Coastline, 90% of the time you lose that round. You don't have a snowball's chance in hell at trying to fight back with your utility or anything because of how this map breaks down. When you play a map that doesn't require a hard breach to actually win the map, there's a lot of things that can go on here that don't happen on other maps. And as we were talking about that, it's really the access to the bomb site that matters the most. You can access every single bomb site on this map through a single door, basically. It's like you walk in a door and it's like, okay, it's right here on every single location. Whereas with something like Cafe, you can't just simply waltz into kitchen. There's a lot of area to work around until you get there.
We're going to see in just a moment here. It's looking like we've got everybody ready to rock in the server itself. Waiting on confirmation from Beast Coast, and we just got it, folks. We should be good to resume things in just a second here. Jump back into the match. It started with overtime. We couldn't have paused at a worse time, as it was getting incredibly exciting here. Beast Coast battling it back from the brink at 4-6 and succeeding in doing so. Now taking us to a tie game once again. 3 final rounds will decide the fate at the beginning of the season, at least, for both of these teams. And of course, they're going to be switching sides every single time from this point forward. Beast Coast get the initial defense, so let's see if they're able to come out on top of it.
Well, we got 3 rounds ahead of us, folks. A best of 3 between these two to see who can possibly win Coastline and get more points than the other. When it comes down to OT, though, and the rules parameters surrounding the NAL, everybody gets a point here. Obviously, a point deducted from the victor, away from 3 and down to 2. Obviously, that's given over to the opposing team. As well, they forced their opponents into overtime, so they should obviously get something for that. So be looking to that for the scoreboard. Both of these teams going to be getting 1 point as of right now, but the victor with that sweet 2.
I like the concept of a score boat, just for the record. I think
Score boat, yeah.
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 It's like whoever gets the most score wins a boat. A score boat. All right, we're going to move on from this topic before this gets any worse.
Man, I swear, dude, at the times where there's like a 3.5 week break in between casting and not casting is like the worst thing for me in the entirety of my existence. But either way, yeah, point system very important, especially when it comes to OT for these two. But looks like we're finally out the doors here, John. Oxygen obviously back on offense. Beast Coast working this defense yet again, which didn't see too much success from them before.
Rudy, a little bit of aggression towards the pull door there. As you might expect, not going to lead to a whole lot as Oxygen does not run right into that spray. In fact, move quite a bit of their player presence away from that now and instead towards Aqua, where you've got two members ready to work their way up the rappel and start putting pressure on Fozo and anyone else that might be roaming in this area for Beast Coast. Of course, not going to be the only position where Beast Coast have that aggression panned up. It's looking like we got players extended towards VIP and a couple other different spots on the map, but those probably aren't going to see play, so more than likely we'll see those players rotate back to the site a little bit later on. Yogg's going to get his first challenge in a moment. I might have to correct myself as the player, it's Sippin over here that was playing in security a second ago, but has since gone all the way out towards the front lobby, peeking the other hallway now, as of course you guys can see. So not going to be much of an issue for the Aqua push. Instead, they'll have to be more cognizant of Bio, who's playing to the top of the front main stairs.
Oxygen doing their best to not overstep right now. And all of this utility at their disposal. Drone out this top area and get a good foothold on Aqua. Don't really have anything over towards White, where there will be a member of Beast Coast, but oh no, I believe a bounce back nade actually ends up taking out Vertical. It's very poor as they'll lose their sledge and possibility of yet another angle being held. As of right now, Oxygen not looking too hot. A minute left on the board to attempt a plant, but truthfully only have control of Aqua as of right now. Yaga with a nice refrag and trace through the wall there.
Y'all going to open up a lot more territory for the team to push through. Obviously, they will have to wait out the toxic gas currently being rolled out by Anthony. And the problem is he's got two more of those canisters. Eventually, they're either going to have to make the decision of trying to execute with about 20 seconds left, which to be fair is kind of what you expect. So they'll probably make that decision or try to force their way through these smoke grenades, which is obviously going to be the lesser of those two desired options. That final gas grenade actually hasn't even been chucked out as of yet. Here it comes now. Great shot from Fozo, and the plant will be denied due to the gas. Not only that, but the plants are going down as well on top of another one. Fozo just ripping everybody to shreds with this Alda here. It's just Foxe left. He's got to fight from below also in the 1v3. No additional explosive drones to utilize. He has both of his standard drones, but look at the timer. There's only 5 seconds left. He doesn't have time to look. He's just got to go in, try to make a play, and ultimately not be successful here as Beast Coast will take the opening round of OT, putting them on match point.
Beast Coast look set up to knock off the #1 team from stage 1 inside of North America right here, right now. Beast Coast of all rosters as well, man. It took one switch, John. Took one switch. Somebody was like, hey, man, I know what to do in the mid round. Let's just do this. And now they're winning games. Is this what happens? I don't really know, but there's only one way to find out, and it's play out these next 2 rounds. As for Oxygen, inside of that last round, just not really getting what they needed inside of the opening minute. They end up losing one of their members very early on. Beast Coast capitalizing off of that yet again. These defenses set up so very well, especially when it came down to the way that they were able to clear out those angles and played their crosses. I love the positioning that they had for their smoke inside of that, as well as with the recent smoke propagation changes. He really can't play inside of Pink anymore and smoke through the wall, so they moved him on over to Vase, have the Maestro play there instead, and well, we all saw how the 81 ended up being the law inside of that one.
New pick coming in here. I don't believe we've seen OXG use this on their defense as of yet, so Foxo would bring yet another operator into the pool here for his personal picks inside of this matchup. It's Pulse also going to be brought out now as well to try to get them better intel about what's going on, more than likely against the top. Clear can work just as well from top to bottom as well. A lot of options for how Foxe can try to play into this Pulse and support his teammates, ultimately slowing down the pace of the Beast Coast execute, which is something that they've had problems doing, because more than likely, if they're getting in the way of it, they are going to lose players based on the way that the earlier rounds in regulation have played out. Now, there is a drone here in the room getting a lot of intel against Foxe. It was at the top left corner now from the perspective where currently looking at it from. So if Fox is going to continue to play into there, he'll have to watch out because that drone is going to be a constant drip feed of info.
Poor Sayano. Sayano, it's on top of the server inside of security.
They're not on it right now. You need to zoom in. It's right there in the corner.
Yeah. So
I hope the viewers saw it when it was highlighted more than anything, because you're not going to be there.
Right there. Hey, perfect timing. Yo, thank you so much, OXG. We really, or excuse me, Beast Coast. We really appreciate you guys. But speaking of Oxygen, they're going to be combating this south side here, as this seems to be the main take as for Beast Coast right now. Actually manning the security window as well. This is something that we don't see happen too often, actually. Yes, it'll be popped and somebody will hold a cross angle, possibly from that balcony that's right outside the office door, but not really work it. See that one happen. Oh, we're going to at least have it inside of this one, and it does actually provide a really, really solid cutoff and puts Yaga in a really bad area. That's exactly why they're doing this right now. Rudy ends up getting lit up, and Yaga's actually going to make it out, although Rudy will end up catching the counter angle and starts dealing some damage to those feet.
I love how Young is just dodging like 4 different players' bullets right now. Foxe sits nice and safe outside the room, giving him an exact player count of how many people are shooting bullets at him.
Hey man, you should really get out of that room. It doesn't.
It's like, hey, there's a 3. No, now 2. Nope, 3 again. Yeah, just don't get shot. It was basically like the comms for the past 30 seconds of the inside of this room. You can see Yogg trying to get aggressive too. He was occasionally trying to fight back and in fact got a bit of damage off on Rudy, but ultimately, yeah, you can't fight against that when there's that many angles bearing down on you. The wrong step leads to your death, so it's better to just back away from that situation, as we ultimately saw Yogg do. That gives over the office control to Beast Coast and the first avenue of execute, but here comes Foxe rotating up through Cool Vibes, shutting down the first push from Fozo. It might have been a mistake here, assuming that the player from Aqua already went in, but it's already been corrected. Oh, maybe not. He's being shot from below. There's nowhere to escape for Foxe right now, but still, another kill from OXG rolls up onto the board. Bio going down. Sippin confirms Foxe. That much we already knew was going to happen. Now the 3 remaining on Beast Coast have to face off against the 4 still standing from OXG. It's looking like the plant may go down without contention as well. Yeah, they didn't realize it was happening until far too late, so Anthony sneaks this off. Now that timer starts ticking in the opposite direction, and the pressure's on Oxygen.
The pressure's on Yaga, especially on this flank, to shut this up and shut this out. Anthony, obviously, very aware what's going on with that. Sippin currently manning the door, but is he worried about the vertical play upstairs? No, Laxton with the retake, and that's going to be all she wrote inside of that round. Although BC does end up getting the plant down, they don't have the post plant necessary to hold up not only the flank, but multiple separate angles that Oxygen are able to work. This is going to push us up and on to match point overtime. 7-7 here, the full 15 rounds necessary in between these two on Coastline. Oxygen obviously back to offense, and BC switching sides as well towards defense. And obviously in between these two, we've actually seen some very unique setups. I honestly think that Beast Coast's offense is looking extremely solid on this map. Their defenses have been pretty good, but I would say that's all except for really what we saw inside of Pent was just kind of rudimentary stuff from them. We saw some very good roams especially, but what I've seen the most out of this roster is Bio and his ability to play a lot of different operators throughout their defensive sides.
Either way, though, an impressive win coming out from OXG ties us back up at 7-7, and as Stokes is mentioning, takes us to the ultimate round of this matchup here. Time for OXG to try and close out on one final attacking round. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at Beast Coast being the surprise winner of this matchup. Everybody thinking that OXG was going to be taking this one, myself included in that, but Beast Coast proving themselves to be quite the formidable opponent, obviously on a tricky map, also Coastline. Like we were talking about earlier, statistically speaking, from our most recent international event being the most even map in the pool, and as such, one of the more difficult ones to play into, especially with the new options that have been presented to teams to play into the sites such as Theater Upstairs, which had largely been reserved for kind of like a Mira cheese strat up until recently. And so she was banned out quite often. We wouldn't see the site get played. No longer the case. We're seeing it played all over the place by teams now. The entire pool of sites now valid to be brought into the fold, and that's making this map a very, very difficult onion to unwrap. That's like a really weird metaphor, but that's the best I could think of on a dime. Let's move on.
I mean, you know, it's just we've just been rolling out the vaccine so well. We've just been able to open up everything, man. It's just this is how it works. You know what I mean? So you roll out the vaccine, you start opening up sites. There you go. Either way.
Another thing that was unrollable in that quick click. Just went to Shrek lore for that one. But either way.
Shrek lore. Oh no, Shrek lore inside of the last round of the last map of the day, John. That's what you choose?
Either way. First play day, though. It's fun. We've got Yogg pinned up on the entry angle, and he's going to move towards it here as there's not a lot of direct contention from Beast Coast until you get over towards security, where the first bits of player resistance are going to start to show themselves. That comes in the form of Rudy, who's got this nice angle right now to punish anybody that tries to push into his territory. And he kind of needs it because he's taken a lot of heat. Only has that little bit of HP left over to survive, so he kind of needs that trick angle in order to get a kill here.
We'll see if Rudy is down for this mashup here. Looks like there's a possibility for an onslaught of Oxygen members to funnel in through this sunroom area, potentially give Rudy some problems, especially in the case of Yaga. Has those concusses and can make it very difficult for Sippin to actually end up winning that out. Either way, though, Oxygen still quite slow moving on this offense. They've mostly just been working the map from the outside, obviously, and catching these pieces of the map that Beast Coast don't necessarily have a hand in. That's the big thing here. Beast Coast are still roaming throughout the map. Rudy obviously still holding on to security. As with the rest of Beast Coast, they have a nice top hold going on right now as well. They're simply just waiting to see what Oxygen are going to do with this map control.
Continuing to wait out this game, but here we go. OXG. No, never mind. It's all vertical right now. 1, 2, and now 3, 4 around the corner. Can he get it? Yes, he can. The ace is all that's left, but will he even get the opportunity? No, he shall not. Laxing shuts it all down from across the map, and OXG take control of the series.
I am so sorry that I did that to you inside of those dying moments, John, but
hey, it worked.
Are you going to tell me a sledge just gets to walk through sight and kill 3 of your teammates?
Four
teammates. Like, okay, after that entire game, I did not think that was what we were going to see, but I'm pretty sure that is simply a birthday present from Vertical to Kino. Hey, Kino, I know you didn't have the greatest day you've ever had when it came to fragging, so I guess that I'll just make sure we get this dub, and we'll move on with our day. So, fantastic stuff there from Oxygen, and what a play from Vertical to clear out all of Kitchen and some.
Let's remember that crazy play that Kino had back in like round 1 or 2 as well, where he's able to hop right in the window, lose half of his life, and still through his own aggression, not even just finding players through lucky angles or anything like that, take down 2 additional players on top of the one he got on entry. Some really impressive stuff from him. I mean, Laxing kind of speaks for himself inside of this matchup as well. The amount of clutch split-second impact kills this man was getting to either save his own life or save a teammate's life, as we saw when he denied a plant kill at one point in that match, was absolutely incredible. That's on top of all the other stuff that we usually see him doing in these matchups as well. Really, really strong performance from OXG there. Alternatively, though, it's still a very close matchup, going all the way to that final round at 8-7, and that, I think, is in part due to the impressive new leadership we're seeing come in here from Beast Coast.
Yeah, there's not a single poor thing that I have to say about Beast Coast inside of this matchup. I'm extremely impressed with their starting point as of right now. Obviously, a new IGL coming in means new management, and everyone knows how that goes. There's a lot of things that change, and as of right now for Beast Coast, this is looking like the greatest starting point they could have honestly asked for. Yeah, Oxygen ends up winning this, but it's 8-7, and you made the #1 team inside of North America last stage bleed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for myself and Stokes. We'll be back tomorrow for the late games as well, but for the time being, we're going to send it back down to Veli and the boys at the desk to break down this final.